20. Let me speak to the manager's stories. According to Reddit. Number 20. I was with my parents on vacation, and the hotel put charges on the bill by accident. My mom marched to the front desk and demanded to see the manager. There was a long line, but she cut right to the front of it. The manager wasn't very helpful, probably because she was rude. So my mom went to all the customers in line and told them that the hotel was a scam and that they were ripping us off with fake charges. She made a scene, and the hotel called the police, and we were escorted off the premises by actual cops. I died inside. Oh boy. Well, number 19. This is a weird story that had a huge impact on me. About a parent talking to the manager, but it is a little different. Well, good for you. Growing up, my dad was the sheriff of a small town. I must have been around 8 or 9 years old. He was brought in after the previous sheriff was booted out for political reasons / stealing city funds. That was a really unpopular movie. What? Since he was super popular and spread his money all over town and let people get away with murder. I'm gonna assume he meant move. That sheriff was out, and my dad was brought in. Everybody hated him, in part because they loved the old sheriff, and also because my dad was an outsider, even though he came from about 2 towns over. He wasn't of their world, so he could never be fit to see over their village. It also didn't help that my dad was a raging asshole with a stick up his ass for the rules. I love that, like, everybody's gonna love the crooked cop in this scenario. One day my dad was dressed in his full uniform and took me alone to the local corner diner, like one of those places straight out of Roadhouse. That's a reference that the kids are gonna get. We sat down and ate the full dinner, and my dad lectured me about respect and the rules. The rules are all we have, okay? Then the waitress came in and dropped the check. My dad looked at it, and it said the meal was free. My dad then excused himself and went up to the waitress. I kept to myself and doodled on the napkin, and the next time I looked up, my dad was full on screaming at the woman. He was straight up shaking. She tried to explain that free meals is how all cops are treated in this town, and my dad was furious that he would get special treatment, that police are above the normal laws, that the police have rules that they must follow, and not accepting kickbacks is one of those rules, and that it especially happened in front of his kid, who he's trying to teach right. Everyone in the diner was quiet and just staring at him. It was a weird situation because it was a moment where my dad showed a lot of integrity, but also a story of how a 6'7" man with a gun on his belt was screaming at a tiny little waitress. Man, no self-awareness. It sounds like a true cop, man. This guy's he's really done it. What a hero. It stuck in my mind as a clear picture of the contradictions that our parents are. Like, a lot of the good comes from them, but at the same time, a lot of the bad. That it does. Number 18. It's going to be one of those lists. My mom needed to return some shirts at the mall because they didn't fit properly. It was past the allotted time that she needed to return them in. So the employee said that there wasn't anything that she could do. My mom started screaming. Slap it on some toes. Well, damn, Courtney. I appreciate this, girl. That subscription means the world to me. And so do you. Thank you. My mom started full on screaming at this girl who's probably 16 or 17 years old, calling her names, demanding to speak to the manager. When the manager told my mom that they couldn't do anything, and that the return policy was on the receipt, my mom threw a fit and knocked over a display that was next to the register and stormed out of the store. I was probably like 6 or 7 at the time, and I was mortified. I apologized for her behavior and picked up what I could before she started calling for me to follow her. The manager was super sweet to me though, and told me that I was a good kid and to stick up to my mom when I could get away with it. Stick up to my mom? You can stand up? The fuck you talking? Stick up to your mom? What the hell does that even mean, boy? Number 17. My dad just loved to argue, and he loved a deal. We were shopping in a department store, and I found a pair of pants that I was mildly interested in. The pants were tagged at, let's say, $40, and the sign on the rack says, all pants are $25. Okay. I was mildly interested. I asked the sales clerk if they had them in my size, and the clerk said, those aren't supposed to be on the rack. Oh, like they were on the wrong rack. My dad lost her shit and insisted on getting the pants for $25 and started asking for a courtesy discount on top of that. He escalated to the floor manager and the store manager. Meanwhile, I didn't want the pants. They were okay pants, I guess, nothing awesome. I just didn't care very much about them. I was more than happy to just move on. I told my dad I didn't want the pants, but by then he didn't care about what I wanted. He wanted the pants, and he wanted those pants at a better price. The pants. Hashtag the pants. Eventually, after like an hour of arguing, the store manager said, we're not giving you the pants at that price. Take them or leave them at $40. So we left them, which suited me just fine, because I didn't want the pants. Finn. Number 16. Jesus Christ. My grandmother wasn't only let me talk to your manager type, she was a racist, and advancing dementia completely turned off her filter for it. I've blocked out all context behind it other than I took her to buy yarn and something went wrong. I think maybe they shorted her a couple of bucks or something, or wouldn't honor a coupon or something of the like. Whatever it was ended in a let me talk to your manager, followed by a tirade to the manager about how they shouldn't be hiring Mexicans. I just remember having to talk over her and say, oh my God, you can't talk to her like that. Nothing you just said is okay, followed by me trying to push her wheelchair out of the store as fast as possible, with her digging her feet into the ground trying to get me to stop so that she could go back to trying to ruin someone's day, and me wondering if I'd go to jail for elder abuse if her ankle snapped in the process, because nothing was going to stop me from getting her out of that store. I got her into the car and then went back in and apologized until I was blue in the face. I wish I could say that it was an isolated incident, but it definitely wasn't. If by any cosmic chance any sales clerks or phone reps that had to deal with my grandmother read this thread, I am so incredibly sorry. I apologize on behalf of my whole family, and I'd give you a hug if I could. As an interesting side effect of caring for her, I have a tendency to wander off and pretend to look at things when we get to the register if I'm with someone and I'm not the one paying. I think she gave me an honest-to-God phobia. Oh boy. Well, I know this is irrelevant, but I think it's just an interesting side note. We live in a world where, there's enough people to where if you can dream it, then it's definitely a possibility. And my thought is that there's definitely people who are, racist at heart and are treating growing old in age, as an excuse to just let that racism out and be all like, oh, well, I'm old, I don't know any better. But they know better. Not all old people, but definitely some of them. You know what I mean? Oh, I don't know what I'm saying. You mother, get out of my country. Trump forever. All right, number 15. Before Value Village, Savers in the States, I guess, they changed their policies. She would cut tags to get discounts since the cashiers would basically make up whatever price that they thought it would be on the spot. If they highballed it, she would get a manager involved, and I hated that. Well, Isn't your mother an entrepreneur, you know? She should be paying colleges to accept her kid. You know? Topical. Number 14, all right? When I was 6 years old, my mom took my brothers and I to the Golden Corral for dinner. You guys survived. Not bad. She went up to the buffet, got a steak, came back to the table, and she's an avid A1 steak sauce fan, and I just cannot eat steak without it. What? No, she cannot eat steak without it. Sorry. There's that dyslexia, because the I does not come before the cannot. She poured out the A1 onto her plate, tasted it, and was instantly horrified. She proceeded to pour out the Golden Corral steak sauce right next to the A1, and it matched perfectly. Outraged, she called over a waitress, and eventually the manager showed them her little experiment and how she exposed the great steak sauce fraud of '06. My brothers and I were scarred for the rest of our lives. I still have nightmares about it.
Come look at this. This is the A1 and this is your steak sauce? It's strange that it's the same damn sauce, okay? My money back, my money back.
And 2 comped trips. Number 13. I don't like going to restaurants with her. She thinks that because she worked as a waitress for a year, 35 years ago, it gives her the right to act like a complete asshole to all waitresses. She also thinks that not tipping them will encourage them to, well, damn, Ryukage.
420 plus 350 equals 770.
Well, damn, baby. Thank you for that donation, my man. You are indeed a hero among men. I need you to know that no matter what happens in life, you know, I got you back. Just like you have mine. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think I've lost my soundboard though. Oh no, here it is. So you donated $4.20.
Smoke weed every day.
And then you donated $3.50. Where the hell is that? $3.50.
What's $3.50?
$3.50.
$3.50. $3.50.
Thank you. The Loch Ness Monster, he smiles upon you this day. As we continue this list, alright? She also thinks that not tipping them will encourage them to get their act together, whatever that means, right? Joke's on you, Mom. I always found our server after seated and gave them $20 and apologized in advance for your poor behavior. Ooh, Mom. Can you imagine like such unspeakable shit being like a recurring thing? Completely unacceptable. Wow. Forever single. Hello, man. Thank you for that follow. I appreciate you. As we continue up to number 12. One time I was in a record store with my dad, and he bought a record that was 19.99 euros. He paid using a $20 euro bill. The clerk took the money and put it in the register and gave my dad the CD in a plastic bag. I started walking off when I noticed my dad wasn't moving. As I turned around, I hear him say to the record store clerk, "You still have to give me my cent back." The clerk replies that they don't return 1 or 2 cents because they don't accept them, and as such they don't have them in the store. My dad replies by saying that is judicially impossible and asks for the manager. To make a long story short, one of the clerks gave my dad a cent from his own wallet. Well, it's hard to disagree in this instance, though. It is advertised as a certain amount, so certainly he is entitled to that amount back. Certainly. What the fuck? Yeah, bruh, if you ain't gonna give out the bing bong, then mark the shit appropriately. Hey, if he was willing to pay $19.99, he was willing to pay $20. Okay, number 11, okay. My mother is a nightmare with customer service, even with the fact that I, her daughter, works in customer service and deal with people like her on the daily now. So, many incidents stick out in my mind, but one that really embarrassed me was when we were at Walmart. The stalker was struggling and dropped their price scanner on the ground. I was going to help her gather her things she was struggling with when my mom came out like a bat out of hell and yelled,
You know you should pick that up. People could trip now. Oh my God.
and then she darted off with the cart. I was so embarrassed I just walked away in shame. And when I pointed it out to my mom, the girl dropped it on accident. She said,
Well, she should have been more careful now.
okay. Someone replies,
My mom used to be much worse towards customer service people. I'm the oldest, so I was first to get a job at a grocery store. And luckily, when she saw Mass Effect behind the counter, it made her realize to not be a jerk all the time. She has her moments, but it really did help overall now. Sad that this didn't happen to your mom now. Mass Effect now.
anybody enjoy that? No? Good. Number 10. Okay. My mom used to run a restaurant. Or two. Because there's an S at the end of that. My stepfather used to be a chef in high-end restaurants and is the kind of guy who expects to be treated better than he is currently being treated. Regardless of whatever the treatment is, they're not fun to go out to eat with. The most embarrassing experience is actually their most wait, what? The most embarrassing experience is actually their most embarrassing experience, one where I embarrassed them. My wife and I pride ourselves on being a relief table when we go out to eat. What does that mean?
We're about to find out.
Yeah, I think it means that they go out of their way to try their best not to, be like a table that the waiters or waitresses or servers have to
Worry about?
have to be like too uptight with, just be like, hey, relax, take it easy, go at your own pace. We're just here to have a good meal and not even worry about the world. Don't go nuts. We're not going to be asking to talk to the manager, How about chill, mother? There's a chill table. Don't worry about it. Just jiggle that ass on the way by and we'll be happy. I'm kidding. Both of us have been servers, and there's always the counterpoint to the difficult table, and that's us. Barring horrible service or bad food, we're super easy customers, we tip well, and we try to have a good time with our server. Furthermore, we just treat people nicely. So you can imagine our disdain. What? When my parents act like they're fucking royalty at the dinner at a dinner service. Okay. I believe I'll have some of the bread. Yes. My wife and I went out to dinner with them. They were being particularly tough. My mom was acting like she was Gordon Ramsay, analyzing the business, critiquing everything down to the amount of bubbles in the seltzer. Looks like it's time to change the CO2. My stepfather was getting more and more heated over stupid things like the amount of ice in his drink, how the waitress didn't top off his water, that he was barely sipping on fast enough. It came to a head when my stepfather ordered a steak medium well, and it came medium well, and for some reason he changed his mind that he wanted it medium rare while it was cooking, and they didn't read his mind, so he gave attitude, as did my mom. They jumped really quick to demanding free stuff. I'm an adult, and this may be my first time that they realize this. No, this may be the first time that they realize this. I interrupted in front of the server and said something like, "Really? This is what you're doing? That's what you ordered." I turned to the server and said, "We do not need anything comped." I then pulled out my wallet, handed her my card, and said, "This is for the bill. We'll happily wrap up with what we have here. I'm very sorry for their behavior. You're doing great." Then the line that stung them so deeply that they still bring it up years later is, "I was taught to treat people nicely, a lesson that seems to be forgotten. Thank you." They turned red. The server walked away. I looked down and cut my steak and didn't say a word. They were so flabbergasted that the meal was virtually silent, except for me asking my stepfather how his steak was a few minutes later. I signed the check, gave a big tip, and we walked out and said our goodbyes. They've been nicer to servers each time since that we've gone out. Since. I used to know a bitch who didn't know the difference between since and sense, and I used to try to explain it to her that, like, you know, sense is what you need to know the difference between since and sense, you know? And since I'm telling you the difference right now, you should try to remember it.
Like loose and loose?
No, don't say it like that. It's loose and lose. I lose my patience describing to people the difference between, you know, something that is tight and something that is loose, dude.
What?
I only have one piece of patience to lose.
I'm losing my patience with you.
Okay. But too many pussies are loose. 2 O's. Too many pussies are loose, not tight. That's 2 O's. And I only got one piece of patience to lose. As in, I could gain more patience, but I can't lose no more. You understand me? It's shit like this that should make me some sort of celebrity, but you know what? People would rather watch videos with a nigga putting on 50 pairs of pants or some shit like this. The shit I see on the trending page makes me just want to go on a killing spree. I'm kidding. It's a joke. It is a joke, YouTube. If I had 100,000 subs, y'all would be all like, yeah, man, good one. See you in the suicide forest. Haha. Number 9. Not the child, but I think it fits. I had this awful, annoying as fuck, terrible neighbor who, because I'm a giant sucker, I was also kind to. She asked me to come with her children to dinner. No, there's no children there. You're just making the story worse. Kyle, don't do that. Do not involve children to make your. It's like trying to make a creepypasta creepier so you throw like a what do you throw in there? What's the staple of a bad creepypasta? Yeah, somebody subscribing to that soon to be terminated YouTube channel. Every time I see it, it makes my blood boil. I had this awful, annoying as fuck, terrible neighbor who, because I'm a giant sucker, I was kind to. She asked me to come with her to dinner because it was her birthday. I knew I was the only person on the planet who would go with her, and gosh darn it, it's her birthday. How could I say no? So she and I went, sorry, and we brought our kids. She makes her oldest do her math homework right there at the table, while the child asks for help. There were children in this story.
Just added later after that.
The mom says it's too hard, and I end up helping. The waiter is just fine. He comes by, takes our orders. She is already acting weird, but she always acted weird, so I didn't think much of it. The waiter comes by again, asks if we need anything. She dismisses him, waves him off and tells him no. Then like 30 seconds later turns to me and says, "Can you believe how awful the waiter is? He won't even refill my drink." And just goes on about all the issues that literally don't exist. I'm like, he just asked you if you needed anything. She cuts me off. I'm going to talk to the manager. Oh my God. She talks to the manager like this is the worst experience that she's ever had in the history of her miserable existence. I'm in shock. Her kids have their heads down. Mine is oblivious. The manager gives her like half of the meal. And the kicker, that's my half. So you only need to pay the rest. Oh gee, thanks. I left a big tip and a note on the receipt telling the waiter that they were great and apologizing for complaints that were totally unwarranted. It is the second most embarrassing restaurant experience of my life, which of course will prompt everyone to go, what's the first? You know what I mean? So let's see if this is the same person responding, because somebody goes, well, what's the first most? Okay. When my daughter was young, like 1 year old, I was out to dinner with my family and my at the time husband. Normally, she was super well behaved, but for some reason she began to cry. Oh, as children do, as children do. She just wouldn't stop. I tried to soothe her, but it wasn't working. I told my husband that she needed to be taken outside, but he refused because the food was being served. Me hungry, and need food in me tum-tum. You take baby cry outside time now. So already I'm embarrassed because now that I'm that mom with the crying kid in the restaurant with everybody. Plus, this is right in front of my family, especially my dad, who I look up to and try to be a model parent in front of. I couldn't just up and grab her in that moment because the food really was being served, and I would have knocked down the waiter. But as the waiters left, my husband suddenly slammed his hand over our daughter's mouth and nose and rumbled at her through grit teeth to shut up. His arm was super tense, and it was like he was doing all he could to not crush her head like a grape. My eyes went wide. I grabbed her, took her outside, never did find out what was wrong with her, since she was fed, clean, and all of that. Damn, it's like a baby. But I did see a dark side of my husband, and so did my father. My husband didn't even come out to relieve me until he had completely finished his food. Damn. She had calmed down by then, so I brought her back inside. I didn't want to leave her alone with him anyway. By the time I was able to eat my own food, it had gone cold. Super embarrassing and also terrifying. Indeed it is. If y'all hoes can't find a girl or a dude that's gonna be delicate with your child, your little baby, you know what I mean? Goddamn. Move the fuck on. Even animals, even little doggies, even big doggies understand to, be extremely submissive with a child because they are delicate. They are frail, they are vulnerable. Scary stuff. Number 8, my father consistently returns food to the grocery store when he is unsatisfied with the quality. The worst is when he returned a 2-pound brick of cheddar because the cheese went moldy before it should have. Well, what would you look at that? Somebody in the chat named Forever Single, who I think just subscribed today, he says, let's see. Kyle, my most embarrassing moment is when I was 3 to 4 years old. I was attending a fashion show, but when it was my turn to catwalk down the stage, I saw my mom talking to another kid. So I became jealous and jumped off the stage with the outfit my mom made. On the catwalk. Do your little dance on the catwalk. Right. Yeah, go easy on the chat there, bro. They'll begin to hate you if they get too much of you. Make them miss you, Make them miss you. And do your little twirl on the catwalk. Well, I feel like that's kind of on your mom at that age. The least she could do is actually look at you. There used to be this Mad TV sketch that was just like, Mom, look what I can do, with a dude named Stewart. And when you're a child, she could have just looked at you. Number 7. I might be late, but my dad once asked the guy at Verizon Wireless to give him his own social security number because he asked for my dad's. My dad walked out afterwards with some stranger's social security number on a post-it. I was a silent bystander because I really wanted my first phone. Right, boy. Number 6. About once a month, my dad gets drunk and calls various customer service centers demanding stuff. Once he finally gets off the phone, frequently like 45 plus minutes later, and he spends the next day telling us all about how he slew the customer service dragon, and boy, people sure don't appreciate their customers nowadays, blah blah blah. If you've worked for DirecTV customer service anytime since 1996, I apologize on behalf of my dad. Where the hell is this even going? Is that the end of it? that's the end of that entry. Look how high it's fucking, you know what I mean? 15,000. 15,000. My God. What the hell is any of this? You know what I mean? Ugh. Number 5. My mother did this in restaurants nonstop growing up. She would demand to see the manager because my burger, which I asked for medium, had some pink in it. What a dumb old broad. Someone responds at a family friend's cookout, not a restaurant. I bit into a burger and it had ice in it. I was like 12 years old. I showed my dad and he silently threw it in the trash. He told me to eat some chips and coleslaw instead, but don't make a big deal of it. As an adult, I enjoy rare steaks, but I can't bring myself to order a burger rare. Guess I made a big deal out of it anyway. Well, you're supposed to learn from your experiences, and it sounded like you did. Number 4. So my mom, I wanted to say okay. My mom and me, should just read it as it is, went shopping, and she dropped a melon on the way out. She then claimed that it was bruised and demanded a free refund. When she was refused, she shouted at the customer service and demanded the manager. I just sat there with a kill me now expression on my face. After one of the customer service employees gave me a chocolate bar, so 7-year-old me was happy. Chocolate cake and chocolate pies, that is how you get very big thighs. A response here reads, I can't even imagine. My mom was the kind of mom that would look at our receipt, realize that they didn't charge us for the buns, and go back to customer service to have them ring it up. Yeah, that's the type of chick that fucking Dia is as well.
Kyle! No! You didn't scan that.
My girlfriend and I recently went out to eat a build-your-own pizza place. Sorry, eat at a build-your-own pizza place. Ooh, similar to... Huh?
I've only been to one.
Similar to Subway, Qdoba, Chipotle, but for pizza. Anyway, we ordered a pizza, and I ordered a large cup so that I could get myself a drink, while my girlfriend grabbed a bottle of cream soda. The lady at the register rang up the pizza and soft drink, but I felt like she hadn't seen the cream soda bottle that the girlfriend had, so I interrupted her and said that she has this as well. I wasn't sure if you knew. The girl behind the corner said, counter. Wow, you're just inserting that. The girl behind the register said, oh, okay. God damn it. Oh, she says, oh, okay, thanks, excuse me, and finished ringing us up. I looked at the receipt after paying and noticed the cream soda still wasn't on there. Once we were seated, the girlfriend says to me, I saw you looking at the receipt and thought you were going to tell them that they didn't ring up the cream soda. My response was, I made the point to let her know that she needed to charge us for it, and she chose not to. It's not on me at this point.
No, Kyle, the cream soda. I'm going up there. Let me speak to your customer service people that tried to not charge us, okay? I'm Dia. I'm gonna eat on my stream.
I'm kidding. Oh my God, look at your face. Number 3. The number of cashiers my father demanded the manager fire. Oh, really? No, I need all of their jobs. The number...
I'll run the business.
Yeah, he said that. He's like, I'm working here now. You're all fired. The number of cashiers that my father demanded the manager fire because they were too slow, they rang us up wrong, etc., including one they actually did. What? I'll never forget that girl taking her Home Depot apron off and walking away sobbing. To his credit, my mom seemed surprised that it actually worked. Dad, well, he's acting like a mom. Must have felt at least some level of guilt and never did it again. What the fuck? How you fire a person for ringing somebody up too slow? Damn. Ring you up wrong, I kind of get it, but like, give him a 3 strikes and you're out policy. Someone says, I bet the reason he never did it again was because he suddenly empathized with the cashier. Up until that moment, he saw himself as the little guy being pushed around by forces outside of his control. So he's pushing back as a kind of valiant, hopeless defense. But when they saw the cashier take off their apron and cry, he realized that she's being pushed around by forces outside her control too, and that he's the one doing the pushing. It was probably a profound, life-changing realization for him. And you know what? I'm not usually a glass half full type guy, but in this scenario, I hope to God that maybe they were putting on a show at the store just to get this asshole the hell out of there, and that after she came back in and was like, all right, pretty good, guys. Let's wrap it up.
Yeah.
Let's wrap it up. We got to get to that rap party. You know what I mean? And all in one take. Wow. Number 2. How do people just like see themselves as super righteous when they're giving everybody else shit? Number 2. My mom has been this person regularly throughout my life, but I do have one positive story with it. Her and I went to eat at Portillo's when I was a teenager, and we sat in the back of the restaurant where it was more private so that we could eat in peace. About 10 minutes into our meal, 2 people come into the empty area and sit down 2 tables away from us. Turns out it was a manager and an employee that was getting written up. The manager was being a complete asshat towards the employee, criticizing and belittling them, and my mom put down her food and walked over and started yelling at the manager for being such an asshole. She went on a rant about how rude and wrong it was of him to do this in front of the public tables, away from customers. No, 2 tables away from customers, and really let him have it. She demanded the phone number of the manager above him, and we left after she received it. I was pretty embarrassed at the time, but as I got older, I realized that she was standing up for the employee and how wrong that manager really was. I'm not 100% sure what she did with that phone number because I lived with my dad and I had to go home after that meal. Somebody says props to her. Also, yum. Portillos. I've never been here.
Up north, people say it as Portillo's.
Well, how should I know? I've never been there.
They have pretty good food.
And it doesn't sound like a fucking, American name. So how the hell would I know to pronounce it Portillo's?
Well, I don't think it's American, but that's just how some people pronounce it up north.
So instead of saying it Portillos, they say Portillo's. Come on down to Portillo's, guys.
Portillo's.
Portillo on down.
Ew.
Portillo in, Portillo out, Portillo outways.
You make me regret telling you things.
Don't forget our rubber baby buggy bumpers. This is like a Rick and Morty commercial now. We got fries, but they're backwards fries. What does that mean? Okay. Listen. Number 1 on the list of let me speak to the manager stories. I should read this one like an idiot. No, let's not say I did. Oh my god, I'm imploding. We traveled a lot. 3 words. Okay. We traveled a lot when we were younger and would skip lines at the airport since we were kids. Dick. But now we were all in our early teens and my mom faked having a heart condition to skip to the long line to get on the airplane. The flight attendant would have none of it and told us to go back to the end of the line, and I still remember the smiles and looks of everyone there. They should have clapped. Somebody said, I never understood this strange addiction to getting on the plane first. I like to spend as little time as possible in a cramped aluminum tube surrounded by loud strangers bumping into you, trying to put their luggage in overhead bins. I wait at the fucking gate until the end. It's not like you're going to get a better seat. And then the same people are the ones rushing to get off first. I don't get it. Well, everything's a race to some people. Did you enjoy this list? Go ahead and like the video. Did you really enjoy this list? Well, the links are in the description if you want to be a patron or a Twitch subscriber or even a YouTube sponsor. And while I'm at it, here's a special thanks to my patrons, to my Twitch subscribers, and my YouTube sponsors. Bitch, what? Okay, I just wanted that third one to be stupid. Alright, guys, I love you to death. You know, what do you want me to say? I know Sean Watson said that he came into a stream and that he tried to make a payment or something, but it didn't work. It still didn't work, but that's fine. It's the thought that counts, and I appreciate you. Everybody's freaking out because Halo is coming to PC, which is going to be interesting. I don't know if you guys have heard about the all these people that got caught like paying for their kids to get into college, but you know, they left a trail, which is ridiculous because it's pretty cut and dry, man. You just make a donation. You make a pretty blatant donation to I don't know, some kind of charity or something. Or maybe, you know, fund. Yeah, make a charitable donation, dude. That's it. And somehow they screwed that up. All right, guys. Well, you'll catch me soon.